All right, get this. 70% of Americans now support legal marijuana.
Really?
That's right, 70%. It's the highest it's been since, well, 1969. Talk about blast from the past. You asked us to deep dive into the 2024 election. And this, my friend, is huge GE. It seems like America's turning greener, and we're not just talking about recycling anymore.
It's fascinating, isn't it? This isn't just some fringe movement anymore.
Right.
We're seeing a massive cultural shift,
Yeah.
with more than half the U.S. population living in states where recreational marijuana is already legal. And hold on to your hats, because this election could be a game changer for cannabis across the nation.
You're telling me. We dug into an article from India Today that really breaks down where the candidates stand.
Okay.
And it's got some seriously interesting takes, especially because, this isn't exactly a typical blue versus red issue anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This issue cuts across party lines in a way we rarely see.
Right.
Take Kamala Harris, for example.
Okay.
She's gone from being a tough-on-crime prosecutor
Yeah.
to actually sponsoring Senate bills for decriminalization.
Wow.
It really speaks to how much the political landscape has shifted, even in just the past decade.
It's a wild ride, right? I mean, she even joked about inhaling back in the day, but
Yeah.
now she's straight up saying nobody should have to go to jail for smoking weed.
Yeah,
It's a far cry from the war on drugs rhetoric we used to.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about changing social norms.
Okay.
This shift also reflects a growing understanding of the economic potential of legalization.
Right.
We're talking tax revenue, job creation, a whole new industry
Right.
with the potential to revitalize struggling communities.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Harris seemingly on board, but what about the ever unpredictable Donald Trump? His stance has been a little hazier, shall we say.
Trump's position has been interesting to watch.
Yeah.
It's been a mix of seemingly contradictory moves, pardoning drug offenders, while simultaneously calling for tougher penalties for dealers.
Interesting.
But recently, he made his clearest statement yet,
Wow.
expressing support for Florida's legalization ballot initiative.
And he didn't just dip his toes in the water.
No.
He went full cannonball, even saying, I believe it is time to end needless arrests and incarcerations of adults for small amounts of marijuana for personal use. Who saw that coming?
It's a bold statement, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it raises a lot of questions about his motivations.
Right.
Is this a genuine change of heart or a calculated move to appeal to certain voters, especially in a key swing state like Florida?
Right.
It's hard to say for sure, but one thing's clear. This issue has the potential to shake up the political landscape in a way we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it's almost like we stepped into an alternate reality where Trump and Harris are actually finding common ground.
Yeah.
Who would have thought marijuana legalization would be the thing to bridge the political divide?
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? This issue that was once relegated to the fringes of political discourse is now forcing unlikely alliances and challenging long-held assumptions. It really speaks to the power of shifting public opinion and the evolving nature of political strategy.
But, okay, let's say hypothetically one of them wins in November. Does America wake up to legal weed everywhere overnight? Because this India Today article made it clear, even with a president who's on board, federal legalization is a whole different ballgame.
It's definitely not as simple as flipping a switch.
Right.
A presidential endorsement is a powerful thing, no doubt, but navigating the intricacies of federal law is a Herculean task.
Yeah.
Congress would need to pass legislation, which means navigating partisan gridlock and potentially facing pushback from certain interest groups.
Right.
And then there's the whole issue of states' rights. How much power should the federal government have over something that many states have already taken a stand on?
Right, because it's not like every state is on the same page here.
Exactly.
We've got some states embracing legalization with open arms and others clinging to prohibition. It's a recipe for legal headaches, to say the least.
Exactly. It's a complex web of competing interests, and untangling it would require a delicate touch and a deep understanding of both the legal and political landscapes.
Okay.
And of course, there's the economic side of things to consider.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about potentially billions of dollars in tax revenue, a whole new industry to regulate, and the ripple effects on existing industries like agriculture, pharmaceuticals, even tourism.
Yeah.
It's massive.
It's a paradigm shift, no doubt about it.
Right.
And it's not just about the money.
Right.
Legalization could have profound implications for criminal justice reform, healthcare, even social equity.
Wow.
It's a chance to right historical wrongs and create a more just and equitable society.
So For our listener who's probably thinking, whoa, this is a lot bigger than I realized, what should they be paying attention to as we head into the election? What are the key things to watch for? It's like we're standing at this precipice,
Yeah.
looking out at this totally unknown territory. It's kind of wild.
It really is. And that's what makes this election so crucial.
Right.
These decisions, the ones being made right now, they could echo for years to come.
Yeah.
So what your listeners should be doing is paying attention to the fine print.
Okay.
What are the actual policies each campaign's putting out?
Right.
How do those policies address what different states want, what all the different players want? It's not as simple as just saying legalize it.
Right, exactly. The devil's always in the details.
Always.
If we legalize it, how do we actually make that happen? How do we
Yeah.
regulate it all?
Right. How do you make sure it's fair?
Yeah, and how do you stop big companies from pushing out the little guy? Those are the big questions.
Absolutely. And these aren't easy questions. They need careful thought.
Right.
We need to really get into the weeds here. This isn't just about weed.
It's bigger than that.
Way bigger. This is about individual freedom, economic opportunity, social justice, the very principles of our society.
Wow. Yeah. It's about what kind of future we're building, all of us.
And that's a conversation we should all be a part of, don't you think?
Absolutely. 100%. So it sounds like this election, it's not just picking a president, it's choosing a direction for the entire country.
It's about what we want this nation to be, which is not a decision to take lightly.
Well said. Couldn't agree more. A huge thank you to you for walking us through this. This was amazing, really.
Glad to be here.
And to everyone listening, keep digging for those answers. Stay informed and get your voices out there. This is one deep dive you won't want to forget.